Well, now I'm live. Oh my gosh. That was silly. So I pressed go live on the streaming software, which I thought made the whole thing live. It did not. It only it only connected the streaming software to YouTube. I needed to press go live on YouTube for it to properly go live. So if you've been waiting for a while, I'm sorry. Um, a little silly there, but we got there in the end. We got there in the end. Okay. So the plan for today is to talk about the weekend and all the news from the weekend. We had PT Amsterdam. We had the keynote speech at PT Amsterdam. And then maybe we can also do some deck building and some gameplay, hopefully, just to sort of pad out time a little bit. There's not a bunch of people in chat right now. Hopefully some more people jump on in. But yeah, Garrett, good to see you, man. Tuning in for your drive. I hope you stay safe and I am not distracting. I don't think I'll be, but I hope I'm not. So, gonna wait maybe a little bit more for some more people to jump in. I was just, well, I was waiting for people to join, which was actually me waiting for myself to go live. I was testing out this KO deck that I made last night. It's uh it's an attempt at making KO good into Zen is the basic idea. So it's two cost go agains with wild rides and pulpings into claw, into command and conquer, humble, strength rules all, weakest link, anything that can just disrupt their turn. Um I think humble is actually secretly good tech into Zen. It just stops them from tutoring cards, so their chi is essentially just blue pitches, and I've noticed that a lot of Zens don't actually have that many reds naturally. They always kind of need the chi and the tutoring to go get something. So turning that off seems really good. Um, for a similar reason, I can't wait for Ice to come back so we can get Channel the Bleak Expanse. Apparently, that's been making a difference in the Living Legend format. Um, yeah, and then Castbone's main board instead of Bloodrush Bellow. That was a weird choice, but I feel like Castbones just actually gives bigger turns in KO than Bloodrush Bellow. Bloodrush Bellows normally it's just claw into something, which at its best is like Swing Big or Bear Fangs, and you're looking at 15 damage. Other than that, you kind of need it to be a 5 card Blood Rush. You kind of need one of your 2 costs draw discards. So I feel like it's actually just better to run Castbone's main board into Zen. Even though it's hard because like it's a chain ender, and we kind of want our chain enders to be like our command and conquers, our humbles, our strength rules all, anything that's like disrupting their turn. And honestly, I could probably cut strength rules all. It's a weird choice for the deck, but yeah. All right, I think I've waffled enough. Yeah, humble might straight up be better than Blanche because it costs 2, and it stops the tutoring. But Blanche is also like it's when are you playing them, right? Because like humble is better in the mid to late game if they just like have the chi naturally in their hand. It's like way better. Whereas Blanche is better if they're trying to transcend because like if Blanche hits, then they can still just tutor with the chi. Nothing stops them from doing that. It's not like it loses the property of being a chi when they lose colors. Um, whereas Humble does actually stop that. So Blanche is really good in the early game to stop them from transcending, but I feel like Humble is really good for stopping them from doing anything off of their transcends, which is almost the more important bit because then they just get stuck with a bunch of chi in hand, and it really cuts down on the power level. Because normally what they're doing is that they're turning that chi into the other card and using the resource from transcending to play like their chase the tail or to play their mauling key and like get the value out of that from there. And Humble just doesn't let them do that. It's like, no, you got your very minuscule value from the blue transcend card, and then you have a blue now. And it just doesn't seem like that's what the decks are designed for. They're not designed to really use those three resources efficiently, especially without their weapons, and they're running weapons that break. So I think it is the secret tech instead of Blanche. I really think it is. Okay, now I've definitely waffled enough. I've waffled enough. Time to actually talk about the weekend itself. Hi, Clark. It's Joel. Huge fan of the pod. No, really? You better be. Seeing as how you're one of the hosts. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into what I actually want to talk about for for the stream. And we're going to be jumping in right here. I have a little slideshow of some of the screen caps that I've taken from I took from the Keystone speech. That's where I want to start. Starting specifically with the roadmap, because the roadmap is really, really cool. I love seeing what we can expect them to make. And there's a couple notable things on here. Um, I think most notably is that we only have one First Strike deck, which is really odd. If First Strike is meant to be the way that like we're bringing new players into the game, and that's like the new premier way that we're doing that, it's so odd that we're only getting one for now into July. Like for the next year, for the next 12 months, if you want to bring new players into the game, you're using these First Strike decks with Terra and with Aurora. And that it just seems so narrow. So narrow. But at the same time, like it's probably too much money for them to make it for every single set that comes out to print like two more brand new decks, pre-constructed decks, send them to shops, have shops put them on their shelves, along with like the Blitz pre-constructed decks. Um, but maybe if the First Strike decks do better than the Blitz pre-constructed decks, then we'll see them get better. Yeah. Joel in all chat, what happened this weekend? He wants me to explain why I'm doing a stream now instead of the episode. Why did no episode come out this week for Pitch It To Me? It's because Joel's been spending time with his partner. Ooh, look at this guy caring about his interpersonal relationships. No. His new job has made it harder for us to record. He has to drive like an hour and a half every single day, both ways, honestly. And so that's cut down on the how easy it is for us to schedule recording days. So we've started recording on weekends, and then Fuzzy got really sick this weekend. And when we're recording on Sunday and then releasing the episode on Tuesday, that doesn't give a lot of time to reschedule. So I decided to plan this, try it out, and figure out something to do on a Tuesday so that we're releasing some content. If it does well, maybe we'll do this in the future when other episodes go down. So now, back to the roadmap itself. Lots of armory decks. I'm very excited to see this. We have 4 more armory decks coming out in the next month, which would be a release of about one every 3 months. But they're kind of crammed in to 2024. We have the next armory deck coming out in October, and then another one seemingly mid-November, early December area. The expectations for this, the chatter online seems to be that it's going to be Terra. Terra is the new Earth Guardian hero, and he's getting the First Strike deck release. It makes a lot of sense to also give him an Armory deck release. So I'm really excited to see Terra come into play in one of these Armory decks. But they also said that the Armory deck is going to introduce a brand new hero to us. And if Terra is already being seen in the First Strike deck, I'm not sure if an Armory deck for him would be the brand new hero. I almost expect it to be an Ice hero. That's my big like prediction guess, is that's going to be an Ice hero. But Terra is a very good, very safe guess for what that new hero in the Armory deck is going to be. And then it seems like from there they're going to slow down. They're going to release 2 more Armory decks, one in April, one in July. Really give the first 3 months of focus to this set 15 that's coming out. Two more sets is nice. One in January, one in May. Looks like a pretty reasonable schedule. It's going to be interesting to see what these sets might be. Again, I'm thinking that we're going to see the return of Ice. If we're seeing the return of Earth and Lightning, I don't see why they would hold out on Ice. Whether Ice is showing up through like Icelander traveling the world of Wraith, or whether this is another Tales of Aria set. I think both options are possible. It's probably more likely that if one of these sets was going to be ice-based, it would be Icelander traveling the world. Maybe a Dynasty 2.0. It's possible, but I definitely think like Ice is the big gap in the game right now, and I think they knew that. I think they were feeling that. They knew it all of this year. Also, just can you imagine Ice seemed that in January? That, I mean, it's winter. It's probably snowing all over the world. Not here in SoCal, but other places with snow. It'll be snowing and like a winter themed set in January with all the snow. I think that'd be great. I think that would really sell well. And then set 16, I have no clue. I think they said they were taking us to a new place in the world of Wraith in one of these sets. A new setting, not unlike how Part the Mistveil took us to Mysteria. We have seen Mysteria before, but we hadn't quite been there yet. So maybe it'll be one of those things. Maybe we'll finally get our Savage Land set. I know that the Brute support, I know I definitely felt like the Brute support wasn't enough in Heavy Hitters. The Brute support in Heavy Hitters was not enough. And like, we should expect to see more Beat Chest. So, that's possible. Ooh, good point, Fuzzy. In January, it'll be summer in New Zealand, where LSS lives. So, they may not associate January with wintertime because they're in the southern hemisphere. That's a very good point. But also, most of the global audience is in the northern hemisphere or on the equator. So, who knows? Who knows? Or maybe we associate Ice with that new location. That could definitely be a thing, right? If we're going to a new place in one of these sets, maybe that's where they take Ice to. Again, that idea of like Icelander traveling the world. It could work. It could work. And then finally the Mastery Pack, which is, I think, what I have next up in the slideshow. Let's talk about this Mastery Pack for Guardian. This was a product that we've actually talked about a couple of times on the podcast, and how like this would be such a good product to print. Just a product that's like, hey, you want to play a class? Here's a bunch of cards for the class. But the idea that I think we had for it versus what LSS seems to have for it is very different. Most notably, this little line right here. Majority are brand new. LSS. The point is that you reprint. The point is that you reprint. We get crippling crushes and debilitates and choke slams and crush the weaks and crush confidence. Like, the point is that we get those cards that are getting harder and harder to get a hold of. That's what this is supposed to be. But when they're brand new, it just makes it essentially another set release, another product release that people are going to have to shell out for. I'm not sure if I love that. I'm not sure if I love that. Crack Shuffle Play making a return is awesome, though. So now there is the incredible opportunity to sit down and bring in a new player with a singular class. You can let them find a hero that they want and then play like 2 rounds of Crack Shuffle Play, give them the chaff, and then all they have to buy is the Majestics for their hero. Like, it seems really, really strong in that sense, but like, what if these commons and rares aren't staples for the heroes? Then what are we doing here? I'm just not feeling great about this product being mostly brand new cards. Honestly, I do love that it's a singular class product. I could even think you could do like a 2-class product with this, with reprints and some brand new cards. At that point, it's like twinging on supplemental, and it wouldn't allow you to really do the Crack Shuffle Play concept. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this sells. But if this doesn't sell well, I don't think they're going to be doing this again in the future. Because I think this is a big risk for LSS to print a product that is so focused on a singular class. So it feels like a risk, but a risk that the community has been asking for. And that's going to make it pretty good. I think at the very least, they're going to get props for releasing this to the public and fulfilling what the community has been asking for. And if it doesn't sell well, then they're going to be like, it didn't sell well. Sorry. Then we have the competitive roadmap that they released. This is definitely something that I don't care as much about in terms of like where the scheduling lies and everything, but I do want to note that this is pretty close to what they were doing last year. Hi, Marcus. You heard Guardian and came? Yeah. We were just talking about the Mastery Pack. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of it because I don't. Mostly new cards just seem so scary to me, and isn't actually what I think the product should be. But I can be completely proven wrong. It only says majority. There could be plenty of common reprints in here. They could do like a heavy hitters thing, right? Where they like reprint a couple key cards that we're seeing all the time, and then some new commons and rares. Some old Majestics, maybe Crippling Crush. We get a Crippling Crush reprint. That'd be great. But yeah, mostly new cards just scares me a little bit with the conceptualization of what I think this product is. Back to the competitive roadmap. I like how it's skirmish something else. Road to Nationals and ProQuest being right next to each other is pretty cool. That's going to be a really heavy competitive season. That's probably when I'm going to be trying a bunch again. I might train this one. It depends on if I like the meta post Rosetta. But this February to April really seems like the big one. And if we look back at this February to April, that's going to be after set 15. So if like Ice comes back in set 15, that could be massive to what the format's going to look like and lead into 2 big CC formats. It's also possible that LSS doesn't like printing a big set that's going to change everything right before they have 2 big CC formats. So it's possible that this could be a lesser impact set. Maybe it would be like a supplemental set and we see the return to that, which would be interesting. It means we got 3 main expansion in 2024 and then the very first set in 2025 would be a supplemental set. So that's interesting to look at. Apart from that, it looks like we have 2 Pro Tours, one in Europe, one in APAC. It's nice that we're seeing a big tournament in the APAC region, and it looks like we're getting a nice world premiere here in May for that set 16. That's looking pretty good. And then the World Championship is going to be in November of this year, post Rosetta. That's going to be fascinating to see too. But yeah, not too much insight from this. I think some people really love seeing like where they can go around the world with these things. But the way that I see it is like you look down here at the major events or the marquee events and you pick one and you say, okay, I'm saving up for this one. This is the one I'm going to be going to. Because most people can't travel to all these, not unless you're like one of the top tier competitive players. And talking about the World Championship in Osaka, or is it the World Championship in Osaka? Or is it a world premiere? No, it's not the world premiere in Osaka. I think it's the Worlds in Osaka. This fifth anniversary pack. So the fifth anniversary pack is weird. The fifth anniversary pack is really weird because these are going to be worth so much money, so much goddamn money. And I don't know. I don't know if I actually like this. I don't like how they're doing so many exclusive products only at certain events. It's yeah, the exclusivity is real, Marcus. It's just like it's limiting it to the people who can travel. And I don't know if that's healthy for the game. I think having the promos was already good enough and like making sure that they were good, expensive, played promos. That was stellar. That was a great way of rewarding people for going to events. This is, I don't know. No, thankfully, I think in the keynote speech, Brian Go said that there's going to be plenty of other ways to celebrate the fifth anniversary of Flesh and Blood, but it's going to be a lot of special cold foils and everything. Yeah. Garrett, I saw that Dice Commando video as well, where he was kind of going over the weekend. And yeah, it doesn't really help people who were there from the very beginning, but I also don't necessarily think that it has to. The people who were there from the beginning got alpha packs, like original alpha welcome to Wraith packs. Like those cards are money. You saved one of the boxes from that period. You spent $100, you're up hundreds of dollars. Um, but this feels way more like an exclusivity issue than the alpha packs did. And I'm not feeling awesome about it, but at the exact same time they're trying to do cool things for people who are willing to take the travel and making it worth more to make that travel and make that trip. If you think, hey, I really want to go and be there for the event, but I need to make some money while I'm there, and you're not a competitive player, having things like this is actually really nice because it can help offset the costs. Like, if this ends up selling a couple months later for like $200, a sealed pack, like, that's a night at the hotel. Or if you did like a capsule hotel, that could be your entire stay right there with selling a single fifth anniversary pack for a couple $100. So it might not actually be terrible that they're doing this. It could help offset the costs for a lot of people who are making the travel. But at the exact same time, I don't like how exclusive it is. So bit of column A, bit of column B. It depends on what kind of person does LSS want to reward with these sorts of anniversary products. And like they said, it's not the only one. So there's going to be other opportunities for us to get hopefully something exclusive for the 5th anniversary. The next thing I wanted to talk about were these cards. These cards were very exciting to me. So they revealed them as just like promo cards for the Battle Hardens, but I'm way more excited in these as, well, they're printing more Arsenal Disruption. They're printing more common and rare Arsenal Disruption. That's so, so good. Um, it's not great Arsenal disruption, but I think we are starting to see what they are going for with these cards. So, Hand Behind the Pin, Smash Up, and Tongue Tied. These are 1, 2, 3 costs for 5, 6, 7 power. They all block 2. Gross. But they are proper Arsenal disruption. Um, I think Smash Up is going to be the best one because Smash Up is a 1 for 5, and that seems very good. A 1 for 5 Arsenal disruption, like if I just think about like KO automatically is going to love this card. And look, they put a brute guy on the front of it. It's like it's from the Savage Lands. So 2 costs go again, swing this for 5, and the 5 has Arsenal disruption. If they're blocking the 6 powered card, then like they're gonna have to sacrifice their whole turn to stop this. It just seems so good in KO. And the rest of them are probably Marcus. Block 2 and retching is gonna be my new Clarkism I adopt. Yeah. Um but the other two seem more like limited chaff. Hand Behind the Pin and Tongue Tied both seem like more limited chaff because I don't think hitting non-attack action cards in instants in Arsenal is going to be quite as meaningful as attack action cards. But they're clearly going to matter a lot for the limited set in Rosetta. We've seen with these meld cards. But the thing is like with instants, you can just cast the instant out of Arsenal with Tongue Tied coming in. So it has the best break point, but it does the worst thing. And like if the opponent really wanted to save it, they could just cast it and get the value from it. So I'm pretty mid on Tongue Tied. I feel like Tongue Tied should have something like the moment that you announce that you're playing this card, you can't cast instants. That way it feels stuck and the opponent has to block. But I don't know, maybe they just don't want the card to be good. Max says hitting non-attack actions is big against Wizard. It is. It's really big against Wizard. It's really big against these meld cards. But like, if it's only good against Wizard, you're kind of hoping that Wizards are good in the meta. So it's Tongue Tied should be good against Zen. Oh, I don't know because like if it's a Transcend card, if it's Art of War, it's great, right? If they Arsenal Art of War, you're feeling godlike. But I think they're just as likely to Arsenal Artivore as they are like an aspect of body, a spinning wheel kick, the blue ancestral harmony, right? Like I feel like they can throw a lot of cards in Arsenal and feel very comfortable about it. Like they don't really be like it's not quite like the block cards for Victor where like you can't Arsenal them, or certain cards where like arsenaling them can be dangerous, like Savage Feast for brutes. Um so it's you're kind of hoping it's Artivore. If it's a Transcend card, if they just drew another Transcend card, then they just double Transcend and they get out of it. But then that means that you're taking away their ability to use the resources from the Kasaya. That's pretty good. So it's not horrible into Zen, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to make deck lists, especially because it's not good into other decks. See, that's like the scariest thing at the end of the day is like you can build something that's like gas against one hero, but if it's not good against other heroes and other play styles, I don't think it's ever really going to see play in constructed decks. And that's just the main issue I see with Hand Behind the Pin and Tongue Tied, is that they're just not going to see play in other decks. It's a 2 cost and a 3 cost that are simply too narrow in what they disrupt. Okay. And then the final thing I wanted to talk about was this, because holy shit, this is crazy. This is crazy. Do you guys realize how crazy this is? Yes, there was the whole Helios meter or whatever the fuck the headpiece was from Dynasty, but like this is gas. We are getting a new card type that they can just use to help balance limited. So if you remember in the live stream episode, I was complaining a bunch about how I felt like making good limited formats was getting in the way of good constructed design. This fixes that. Imagine one of these macros that says, hey, your wager cards, they can block 3. Or they have -1 block. They have -1 block for limited. All wager cards. All the wage cards. Wage might, wage agility, wage gold, all the wager cards. Oh my gosh, that would just make them block 1 less just for limited. And then they can be 3 blocks. Like, that would have been the perfect thing to print in heavy hitters, and it would make Betsy a real deck right now, is if it said 3 in the bottom right of those cards instead of 2. It would make such a big difference for her. And these macros are going to let them do those kinds of things. So, like, I cannot wait to see what they do with these macros. In terms of what this is doing for Rosetta, yeah, it's a Helios that's in the battlefield or in the arena, but it's 2 resources to stop 1 damage. Based on how much Arcane Barrier and Spell Void they're going to have, like, I think that's what's going to make the difference, right? Is how much Spell Void and how much Arcane Barrier, because I can see myself just never using this, because 2 resources to prevent 1 damage is really awkward. It's really awkward. If you only have like AB1, I guess this helps you extend, and your blue can now stop 2 damage, but like, I don't know. And then also just macro sucks. Macro sucks. It's a horrible name. I don't know why they chose macro. There's so many other words that they could have chosen for this. They could have made it a landmark. Yeah. Fuzzy says this card allows you to run more blues in Rosetta Limited. It gives everyone a way of stopping Arcane and lets you get value out of a brick hand. Yeah. Oh, Garrett. I think they said this set has no AB. Have they confirmed that? Do you know where they may have said that? Because if so, then yeah, this card is necessary. And I can only imagine what kind of arcane damage they're going to print actually on cards. If there's no AB in the set at all, then like, I don't even know how that's healthy for the game. Honestly. Maybe they're just trying to make arcane damage a smaller piece of rune blades and wizards. That's possible. Because arcane damage is so toxic and everyone hates it, that maybe they're just trying to put the numbers lower and lower and lower. I can't ask Garrett to cite his sources. Community runs on oral tradition. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, the macro cards, hate the name, love the idea. It's going to be so nice for limited sets moving forward. Kind of underwhelmed by the ability. If Garrett is not lying to us in here and there's no AB, then this is going to be an extremely necessary thing to have. But like, then I'm worried about what kind of numbers they'll be printing on cards. Because if Auxilio and Verdance don't have bigger arcane numbers, I don't know how they're ever going to be valid over like Kano. Or how they're going to be valid into Constructed, where heroes will be running AB3. Maybe they're just like, look, Kano's gonna LL, and then all the numbers for arcane damage that you're gonna have to deal with are just gonna go you're just gonna get lower. And no one's gonna have to worry about it. You can run AB1 and AB2 and not feel like you're getting screwed over. But then I'm worried about like wizards being fatigued by AB3. And like, is the Guardian game plan into Wizards now just, I'm going to pitch a blue every single turn and not let you deal any damage? Fuzzy says no AB just means there's a new arcane damage prevention effect. I mean, maybe. That I don't think that's been confirmed yet. Maybe next episode you guys are gonna have to tune into the podcast and see what we think about that. All right. And that's most of the stuff from the keynote that I wanted to talk about. I kind of want to not spend too much time talking about like the meld cards and whatnot. Um, so now let's go ahead and, well, actually, I do want to talk about the meld cards, but I want to talk about them in more of a rules context and like, what do I think about them? Also, this is so funny to me. On the website, it's vertical. LSS has him vertical, and so pretty much illegible. But Fabrary, within like a little bit of time of these cards being revealed, they got that sideways. They figured out how to put it sideways. LSS, catch up. Hire these people. Hire the people from Fabrary. Clearly, they can make it sideways before you guys can. That's fine. It's whatever. Um, but the split cards and the meld concept is really interesting. Obviously, the zero costed stuff is going to be better than everything else. It's going to be better than the one costed stuff. Definitely better than the two costed stuff. Um, so like, yeah, Thistlebloom Life is clearly going to be one of the better ones. And this is actually a really nice one to look at because they told us how, in the rules reprise, they told us how these cards resolve. So they're going to be played left to right and then resolve right to left, which is really important context for a card like Thistlebloom, because you know that you're going to be able to gain the one life here, and then make the Rune Chant token off of this life gained. I think this is also just pretty clear for saying, hey, life gain is going to be an Earth concept, so it's going to be connected to Florian, because Florian, if this is Runeblade action, I'm assuming that there's going to be more than just this one card. Gain a life, make a rune chant is not good enough as a card. So clearly, I think we're going to see more base Earth cards with life gain effects. Also, obligatory non-attack action card, 3 block. Embodiment of Earth makes it a 4 block. Other big meld card. This is going to be the stupidest meld card of all time. It's a 0 for 5. It's crazy. This is like way better than Mavrian Skies. But also imagine like flashing this in with creepers, like, nah, man. And this is at rare? At rare? LSS? You want me to draft this? This means that the yellow is playable. Like yellow burn up shock is 100% playable. We don't know if they're going to print it at other colors. These meld cards might be color locked, but like, damn, I would play that yellow. I'd even play this at blue. It's a blue 0 for 3. Like, that's so worthwhile. So worthwhile. Also, a thing about these meld cards I really like, it's either shock as an instant or life as an instant. So really sort of streamlining the design, making it easier for new players to pick up. They know what the instant is going to do. So I appreciate that on these cards. So it's really important that everyone reads this article and understands how these cards work. So they can only be included in your deck if you can have both sides of them. So Thistlebloom is only playable in Briar and Florian. Burn Up Shock, Aurora, Briar. Pulsing Aether, actually, only Verdance. Null Shock, only Acilio. So that's nice, is that they're essentially treated like they have both of the card types printed at the bottom. You can play either side, but then the card only has the property of the side that you played. So the way that works is I could play just life and gain 1 life, or I could play life and Thistlebloom, but I would have to use my action point to do so. I would have to use the action on the Runeblade action to make that happen. Very quick little check-in on chat. Yeah. Hire the Fabry people. Yeah, the cards seem really, really good. Um, but also it's another reason why I really don't like the tongue tied, because you're essentially saying, oh no, you don't get value out of the action half of it. You only get the instant half of it. And the zero cost, it's going to be really easy to just throw those out and not feel horrible about that. You can keep your 4 card hand and still get the value out of the card. It won't be too bad. Other fast facts. If you meld, you play a single card as a single layer with the properties of both sides, but there is priority between resolutions of each side. So I think that's really important. And then the resource cost of playing a card with meld starts at twice the base, then modified by effects. So that's going to mean for a frostbite, if you have 1 frostbite and you're trying to cast the Comet Storm Shock, it's not going to cost 6 resources to meld, it's going to cost 5 resources. Because it's 2, and then you're melding, which makes it 4, and then frostbite applies, which makes it 5. So that's important to know. It's not going to affect both halves. It's only going to affect the singular card once after you've decided that you're melding. Which does sound pretty in line with the rest of the rules. So those are the meld cards. And now I want to talk about some of the other spoilers we got, most notably Verdants. So if you guys follow us on Twitter, if you don't, you should, because I'm trying to tweet way more on Twitter. But on Twitter, I got a little angry. At the people who were saying that her ability was going to be every time you gain 1 life, amp 1. Because that is so dumb. I feel like that is so stupid. Because, like, it's way too much value. Way too much value. They were also saying it was going to be turned on from the get-go, which it's not, thankfully. It's going to have the same condition as Florian, where you have to banish so many Earth cards to get it active. But, like, man, amp 1 is just so not the right choice for this card. So, and it is entirely because of Heartbeat of Candlehold. So, Heartbeat of Candlehold is a 1 cost, gain 1 life 3 times with go again in blue. That's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. If this was amp 1, you're only getting rewarded by playing this on bigger hands, but that would mean you could throw you could throw Comet Storm for 8. I guess not Comet Storm because it has the lightning instant. What's the 2 cost wizard? Voltic Bolt. This is just 8. Gain 3 life, throw 8. Arcane damage. So, late game, keep a 3-card hand, win the game. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's not amp 1. It was never going to be amp 1. Thank God it's not amp 1. Because that would have been insane. So with the deal 1 damage, yes, this is still a 1 for 6 with go again at blue. But by putting this condition of having to banish the Earth cards and having it deal just 1 damage each time means that with Arcane Barrier 1, you can do a single blue and stop that 3 damage. And that does so much more than the amp turning some other card into some unblockable threat. It's way more fair. And like in a life gain hero, I would be very concerned about the unfairness that you end up putting in the hero, because I think it's already going to be sketchy. This is a wizard hero with 40 life. 40 life wizard hero. It's going to be spooky. It's going to be spooky. And then Auxilio. I want to talk a little bit about Ausilio because one, discarding an instant to draw a card seems like a very mid ability at first glance. This is obviously going to be the hyper synergy hero of like and combo hero. So if you liked Kano with his combo, or maybe if you like wanted to play Kano and his combo, but you didn't want to like get completely distracted by people hating Kano, then Ausilio might be exactly the right hero. 36 life, so he's probably not going to be as fast. You're probably going to need to combo off multiple times to win the game, which is the correct way that wizard combo should work. The fact that Kano gets to combo once and win the game is not fair at all. You should have to combo multiple times to make it work. But I think we haven't seen enough of this guy's card pool to really say anything about him. Because when you look at Volzar, the Lightning Rod, if you control an aura permanent with sigil in its name, this costs 1 less to activate. And once per turn as an instant, you can pay the 1 and amp X, where X is the number of lightning cards you've played this turn. So I think we need to see more cards with sigil before we just like know exactly what Ausilio is going to look like. And I like Amp being on his staff. Amp being on his staff makes sense because he's trying to combo and you need to play a lot of lightning cards. Now, notably, looking at the meld cards, if you play Comet Storm and Shock, let's say that you just play Comet Storm, that doesn't count as also playing Shock. So that doesn't count as you playing a lightning card. At least I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So that's going to be pretty important, I think. That maybe having to like meld these cards is going to be really important for Ausilio, so that he can be casting normal wizard rated attacks, but then also able to cast these lightning spells to amp his Volzar. That seems important to his playstyle. But we really just need to see more of his cards. We need to see a lot more of his cards before we understand what Ausilio is looking to do in the game. And then the last thing I want to note that I'm a little scared by is Earth Form and Lightning Form. Can anyone in the chat tell me what is scary to me about these cards? Looking at these cards, what is terrifying about them? I'm gonna wait for stream to catch up. I'll let you guys leave your little comments. What don't I like about these cards? I'm not scared of women and or tree dudes, Fuzzy. That is not the case. On hits, no limit, no. It harkens back to something I was complaining about earlier in the stream. No, I actually like broccoli, Marcus. Broccoli is a great vegetable. My mom used to always make steamed broccoli for dinner, like every other night. Nope, it's the fact that they block 2. Garrett got it! Yay! Yes, they block 2. And block 2 is so fucking bad. It's so scary to see this block 2 on these cards. If all the elemental cards are block 2, like, Verdance and Florian need to be putting earth cards in their graveyard. But them being block 2s is going to be so annoying. And like, okay, the Majestics aren't. The Majestics block 3. All the Majestics block 3. But I don't want to be blocking with my Majestics. I want to be playing my Majestics because they're the good effects. I want to be blocking with the weak cards and then attacking with the strong cards. Making these elemental cards 2 blocks is just so... like, it's right for limited, but it's scary. It's scary and constructed because, like, I don't know what these heroes are going to do against Zen Man. How am I going to get a hero ability before I take 40 damage from Zen? I don't know. Um, some people have suggested that a equipment card will have decompose on it, and I love that idea because otherwise I don't know how these heroes survive against aggro, honestly. If all the elemental cards are 2 blocks, it's so scary. I do like the on hits. I like the rate with no go again with a strong on hit, but block 2, no good. No good. Yeah. The mill cards do have 3 blocks, so like it's going to help a little bit. So far this is the only rare one we've seen. This is majestic in terms of the earth heroes specifically. I don't mind the lightning heroes having worse block. I feel like lightning is not known for their block, but earth should be known for their block. So, yeah. And then I think Alice made up a great point of like, one, these are common, and well, earth they're rares, but they're oftentimes seen as draft chaff. And if I think who was it that said if earth form hits? Crazy how blocking 2 just makes a card so much worse. Yeah. I mean, it's just so important. I mean, Flesh and Blood's a mid-range game. It's so important that you're able to block for 3. Yeah, Allison makes a great point that the Earth one can give greater block value by hitting. So you can like block 5 on a turn with a 2 block and maybe a 3 block, and then throw Earth form and like give yourself better block value on the next turn. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but so far most of the 3 blocks that we've seen in Earth have been majestics. And I don't know, saying like block with your strong cards and then attack with your commons and rares, it just doesn't seem like the way I want the game to be going. Because we already want to include these cards for their power and for their power and for their synergy. So like making them also like the majority of the block 3s in the deck, I'm just not sure how I feel about that, all things considered. Okay. What is next on my docket? PT Amsterdam. Let's go ahead and talk about PT Amsterdam. So PT Amsterdam was great. This was day 1 metagame. I want to take a second for us to look at this and acknowledge just how crazy it is that Mist Veil is a vast majority of what everyone was playing. I mean, I haven't done the math, but 90 feels like it covers everyone up to Kano easily. Maybe even like he's almost half the field itself. And New being the obvious counterpoint, and then there's the illusionist stands who are never going to not play illusionist. So like even though everyone's saying Enigma isn't good in the meta right now, she doesn't have as good of a matchup she doesn't have a great matchup into Prism. Definitely not as good as like Dromai had into Prism. She does good into New, but then I don't see Enigma really beating Zen very often. So like it's so odd to me that we saw 32 Enigmas when all the tier lists that I saw leading up to this event was putting her way lower. I appreciate people sticking on KO, but like Azalea's dropping, Victor's dropping, Kano's dropping. Like the amount of actually maybe the Kano numbers are saying the same because just so few people play Kano. But like Dash just not really getting enough of the meta share. Lavaya consistently getting incredible new tools that should be putting her way stronger in the meta, and then she's just never able to convert because there's always something getting in her way. The top two decks both having good matchups into her. Like, she's actually in a worse spot now than she was in heavy, even though they gave her one of her most pushed new cards. It's really sad. And we did get one Levia in top 8, but like that game was brutal. It was so fucking brutal to watch. It was so sad. If you saw that game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bye, Garrett. I hope your drive was good. Thank you for chatting. Thanks for sticking around. But this metagame is not looking great to me. I'm not too happy looking at this metagame. I do want to shout out though Chris Iali for going undefeated day one. Really big shout out to Chris Iali. He's a local here. We play all the time with him at the AGE tournaments. He's always nice, very professional player. And I mean that in like how he conducts himself, right? Not just the fact that like he's good at the game and he goes to tournaments, but he conducts himself really, really nicely. When people are making mistakes or getting overblown or whatever, he's really even keeled. He's just a cool guy to have around in the community, and it's great to see a SoCal guy make it top of day one. I think he was also the filmed draft, and this was great to see. I loved seeing this. Then the first day of draft, it was nearly a perfectly even split. Like, that is just incredible and really, really nice. 126, 126, 125. Balanced, balanced, balanced. Talon won the AGE, just forcing new all three drafts. I think everyone knows how strong Zin can be in limited, and like everyone knows how strong Enigma can be in limited. But just the fact that like there was an even split between these three, LSS is hitting their stride in the balance for limited. So like if you have issues with limited, I don't think it's necessarily a balance issue. It's an issue of like, well, some Majestics seem really strong, and well, some things seem really powerful, and it's you more have those kinds of issues of like maybe a specific card being a little too great to open out of a pack, or like maybe you just have an issue with the hero-oriented design and what that does to the drafting process. But in terms of balance, it's balanced, and this is a clear indicator of it. Day 2 conversion rates. So conversion rates are always a weird thing to look at. We've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, and Brian Go even mentioned it during the stream itself. Day 2 conversion rates are not necessarily something we want to be putting a ton of stock in, because draft is almost half the games that you play. So like when Uzuri has 100%, is that because Uzuri did well, or did the Uzuri player go 1-3 and then 3-0? Right? Like, I think that's really important to tell. And you never really know how much of day 1 was sorted out by like a bunch of battling among these lower numbers, right? How much was it like Bolton getting lucky pairing into a -IO, and then getting lucky and pairing into, I don't know, say a Victor, and like they had good tech for that matchup. So they won their 2 games, then they lost 2 games, and then they 3-0 draft. Is that really like the really important thing to look at? And Uzuri, there were only 2 Uzuris. Boltons, there were only 5 Boltons. I always feel like the biggest conversion numbers come from the low hero representation numbers, right? And then just seeing New and Zin up here is sort of tells you that they were properly threats in the meta. There's a reason these are the top 2 decks in the meta right now. The Riptide 50% is pretty great to see, because Riptide was not super low, 10. It's not a ton, but like 5 of them made it today too. I think it's not nothing, the fact that he's up here. Bolton being on 6 and Uzuri being on 2, I want to dismiss a bit more readily than the Riptide at 10 representation. Yeah, same thing with Bravo. Like I feel like Rangers are doing okay in this meta. Maybe they just need a little bit more tech to find out how to win. Um, and then this is the day two metagame, right? So clearly we see a lot of the bottom heroes dropping out or probably struggling, and the top of the meta is really these top two rows, and those are the only ones that anybody's really looking at. Though I will note Levia on the 4 snuck into top 8, so really big props to that. Then there was talk about like the big commoner event and the some of the top 8 decks. I I really want to know one thing here, which is now I want to get to talking about Shoma and Shoma's incredible run. He had to win to get into top 8, and then once he did, he won against 2 news, and then he ran into the Zen on the other side of the bracket. So, if you haven't read this little interview, I really think you should. There's some really, really big insights to learn about like why Shoma picked his deck. Like right here, 72 picked new, but you're one of two who picked Uzuri. Why? Um, Uzuri can beat KO, Victor, New, and Zen, but she can't beat Kano. I decided to use Uzuri because I can beat New with her. That is the biggest thing out of everything here that I think, like, that's the biggest insight. Uzuri can beat New. I think that is a massive insight into why Uzuri did so well in this matchup and in this format, in this tournament, because Uzuri can beat New. If you think of Uzuri as just a hero who can do instant speed, or sorry, reaction speed disruption, like, it's so much bigger than the kind of upfront disruption that heroes have been representing, that Victor represents, that New represents. They kind of have to play the disruptive piece first and then pump it up after the fact. Being able to throw disruption on the reaction speed is so much more powerful. Siren's Call and Pummel being two of the ways that like New and Victor respectively try to do the same thing that Uzuri does, but Uzuri is able to do it with the cards that actually shut down Zen. So I think his deck list is somewhere here, and we can look at his deck list. Where is the deck list? I knew his deck list was somewhere here. Tariq, Puddington, Kevin Zanker, Gabe Shear. Here we are. So let's take a look at his deck list. 3 Amnesia, 3 Command and Conquers, and 3 Weakest Links. The fact that he can treat all of these as the Pummel or the Siren's Call, he has 9 copies of Pummel or Siren's Call into Zen. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it, right? And on top of that, he gets the exact same power of New, where he can throw Persuasive Prognosis and Bonds of Agony, where it's that more upfront disruption. And like, I just think that is so immensely powerful. He can punish overblocking with Spreading Plague and Shred really nicely. And then Codex of Frailty also just means that he can throw them very plainly. When I beat Zen on my Victor list, it's because turn after turn, I am throwing an on-hit that matters, so he's never able to whittle me down to the point where he can then throw his combo and destroy me. And like, that, with Codex of Frailty, that is a real possibility. Out of every single hand, Uzuri can be swapping in one of these cards. Oh, and then don't forget Shakedown. Like, that's an immensely powerful aspect of Uzuri that other decks don't have. Uzuri has another 2 for 6 disruptive piece that can completely shut down Zen. And like, that makes a massive difference. That means there's 12 2 for 6 disruptive pieces that can just shut down Zen. And with Codex, you just add another 3 of one of your choice. Like, it's on top of the bonds and persuasive, like, it is just, and surgical, it's nonstop. It's just absolute nonstop disruption. And that's why Uzuri won. Which is honestly, like, way more than I think anybody was expecting. Way more disruption than anyone was expecting. And I think just into new, I prefer this than the mirror. If you think that the mirror is always going to be 50-50, like maybe you run tech that makes your new like a 52 into other news, but like I think that this is just insane. It's just insane how efficient this is. I'm also surprised that he didn't talk at all in that little comment about the Illusionist matchup, because again, looking at the metagame, it's not like it didn't have enigmas or prisms. Half of both of these made it through to day 2 of 16 and 16. So, or I guess it's 16 and 15. But like, I feel like the Illusionist matchup can't be very good for Uzuri. So, and he didn't talk about it at all, which means like maybe there was a little bit of gem luck. He also ran no AB in his deck list, so like there was gem luck on dodging the Kanos. So like he came in expecting KO, Victor, Nu, and Zen. That's what he came in expecting. He got the Nu and Zen correct. They were over half of the field. KO had about the same representation as either of the individual Illusionist heroes, and then Victor just didn't really show up. So I think he definitely had some gem luck dodging Kano, and maybe even dodging some of the Illusionists. Maybe he had to, I don't know his full, every single match he played, but I think that he definitely had some gem luck getting into the top 8, and then only seeing News and Zens, which were the 2 main decks that he seemed to spec for. And I mentioned this not to try to downplay his accomplishments, but because if he loses in the quarterfinal to a Prism, I don't think we're talking about Uzuri in the same way. Because the way that everyone's talking about Uzuri right now is like, now she's the silver bullet for the meta. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think she's a really, really strong choice, possibly even a better choice than Nu, but she's still an assassin. And that means that Illusionists can still really, really threaten her. And I think it means that other decks can have a chance into beating her. I think the Illusionist matchup might get bigger. I think the Kano matchup representation might get a little bigger after if we see an uptick in Uzuri. Is kind of what I'm trying to get at. And if you haven't seen his game against Xing Sang from Team Blue Pitch, go watch that game. That game was incredible. I got to catch that live in the middle of the night. That game was insanely close. And there was so much clever mind gaming on both sides. On both sides. It was such a tight game. So I really want to acknowledge that he did earn his victory. If you watched this game against Xing Sang, or Xing, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm very sorry. But if you watch that game, it's a very, very good game. An incredibly good game. Okay. So that's Uzuri. I kind of noted what was really, really strong about his deck. I also want to say that I think his deck had the ability to throw a little bit more damage than I think the average new deck does. But maybe that's just me being me. So yeah, that's most of what I wanted to talk about. So we can round out the night with some deck construction and deck building. What I'm hoping for is that you guys want to see me play a particular deck or format, and we can just build a new deck. So really go from nothing to something in the deck building process. So we can start a brand new deck, any format you want to see me try a living legend deck, a commoner deck. If we want to do classic constructed, that's fine too. Blitz. So I'm open to building any type of deck and taking it onto Talishar and giving it a shot. But I think it could be fun to sort of build a deck live with the chat. Or I can just grind some games with my KO list that I want to test out. So kind of up to what the chat is feeling. Do LL Prism else? I feel like you would just... I would play it so bad. It would just be you coaching me. That's what this would become. Just you coaching me on LL Prism. No, Fuzzy. You also want to see LL Prism? I mean, it's an option. I'll do what the people ask for. If there's any other thoughts in here. Doesn't seem like it. All right, LL Prism it is. Let's figure out how LL Prism plays. Because this is not something I actually play very often. And I was never around for OG Prism. So... So let's get into this. So we're definitely doing the original Luminaris while also replaying in Living Legend. Phantasmal Footsteps is pretty much an auto-include. Silent Stilettos is Arcane Barrier, so that's going to be good. Wave of Reality, I know that that's something that they've run fairly often. Ghostly Touch is probably not needed in any matchup. So... Halo of Illumination. Might be good. Might want to do one of the generic ones. Vestige of Soul. Vestige of Soul seems good. I don't know. This looks like a lot of pain for Alice watching me struggle to build this deck. I also imagine that Findalls could be a reasonable option for equipment. Crown of Providence, Balance of Justice, also probably decent headpiece options. Most of my illusionist knowledge is based off of the new Prism. Vestige of Soul is if a card has been put into your soul this turn, you gain that many resources +1. Before I return to equipment, let's go ahead and look at the cards itself. Herald of Tenacity. Herald of Triumph. Wartune Herald. Those are probably the only red heralds I want. Arclight Sentinel. Dodging all the figments because they are not playable. Merciful Retribution, Ode to Wrath, Parable of Humility, probably decent. Fortune Herald, Herald of Triumph, Herald of Tenacity. Herald of Erudition, Genesis. This is like what makes the deck work. Then outside of that, it's blue Heralds as the blue light cards, I feel like. What other light cards do we have here? Some things that stop poppers. Celestial Resolve is probably not anything I want to run. Angelic Wrath as a way of getting over blocks, but that's probably not too necessary. Probably want to run some Spectra Auras, an Illusionist, Passing Mirage, Haze Bending, Pierce Reality, Shimmers. Shimmers is gas. So there's some blues. You know, I am feeling, equipment-wise, the Vestige of Soul. Because if Genesis sticks, or if one of our Heralds hits, we can turn any... Findalls might just be better. It's already off the rails and I'm living it. Painful for you, Joel? I don't doubt it. We don't really want to be pitching blues. We want to be pitching yellows for this. Let's try Findalls. Halo of Illumination. We're not tutoring out the Figment, so I feel like its active is way worse. So let's go for this with this in inventory. We can put this in inventory. And then, because we don't have an easy way of guaranteeing anything, I feel like Dreamweavers is the right arm piece to go for. So that we don't get stopped by poppers when we really want to hit. And why would we really want to hit? Social Cataclysm is going to be necessary for the mirror. Soul Shield definitely goes in the deck. Tome of Divinity. Tome of Divinity could be the go button. And if I have extra slots, alright, Herald of Protection. I don't have a ton of reds, so let's just work in a random sink below. Unmovable can go into the inventory. And then we're going to need... Ooh, that's already 80? Gross. Alright, let's take out the thing that pumps heralds. And let's do some more Arcane Barrier protection. So Halo of Illumination for Icelander. We have AB1. So we need other Arcane Barrier. What else we got? Ooh, Crown of Reflection. kind of like this. So it'd be arms piece, legs piece. So that's AB3. Oh no, we already have the legs piece. That's AB2 and Norman Robe taking away the Findall's flexibility seems rough, but I feel like AB3 plus Spellvoid seems good. Play Pummel Wool? Sure, I'll find room for Pummel. Here, we don't need Sink Below. Not when we have Pummel. That's an easy swap there, Alice. All right. This deck seems Terabad. Oh, I have one slot. I have one slot left. Is there a random maybe popper I can throw in here? Or I don't know. What's a one of? What's a good one of to run? Light of Soul. Here. No, I need to put that in the main deck. Random one of sideboard card. Here. Vestige. Boom. 1236-2. Love to see it. Alright, into Talishar we go. Living Legends CC, Public. Great game. I'm ready to lose. I'm ready to lose some games. Do 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 do. You can, Alice, you can join this match, but you are not allowed to play Prism. You have to play someone else LL if you want to join the match. You'd also have to find the match because I'm just a random Prism looking for a game in LL. There could be multiples. You don't know. I don't know either. 3 yellow pummels or nothing. No, I did 3 red. I did 3 red pummels, Han. Starvo it is. Oh no, one of the complicated matchups. If anyone in the chat wants to get in on this, they totally can. I'm playing for me. Playing for funsies. I'm probably not going to do Living Legend, because I want to do Living Legend Viserai, but, like, he seems really bad right now. Dun dun dun. I want to go first for auras. Providence, Dreamweavers, Phantasmal Footsteps, Findalls. Yeah, seems all good. I feel like I want to bring in the things that stop poppers and unmovable to stop his on hits. All right. I am going to be talking through, so mute the stream, Alice. Don't listen to stream. Though I know that you're not really that kind of person. Also, I'm going to take out Toma Divinity. I feel like it's going to be hard for me to activate Toma Divinity. So we'll just run 63. Seems weird, but eh. Unmovable is honestly probably really bad with my blue counts. I'm going to go down at Unmovable. I don't know why I ran 3 Unmovables. It's so weird. Alright. All right, are we live? We're live. Ooh, which one matters more? So let's do... Hmm. So we pitched a yellow, so I should be able to attack with this. And just do a little annoying 0 for 1 poke. And then haze bending. So resolve 2 Spectra, no arsenal. This seems fine. Okay. Goodbye, haze bending. Oh, blink? Haze bending, no. Um. Ooh, so I could just activate Merciful. I could play another Merciful Retribution to deal 2 arcane damage to him. I kind of like that, and then I can resolve one of these two. Probably Passing Mirage. Yeah. Now my turn, I'm just going to resolve a Passing Mirage and pass. Ooh, look at that. Channel Lake Frigid. Damn, that's evil. And then he's going to take out the Merciful Retribution. Oh, I probably should have done this earlier because now it's going to take my whole hand. But Passing Mirage is up, so maybe I do Wartune Herald. So it hits. So he wants to keep his hand. Each of these are going to cost 1 to throw. So maybe I just throw Herald of Tenacity. Oh, wait, activating that costs 1? Damn. That's wild. Okay. Well then. Let's just poke him. Oh, he revealed. He's got the thing. So this is going to be 7 dominate go again. Okay. Channel Lake Frigid is still up, so everything I do costs 1. I could dump the Herald of Tenacity. he revealed what? He revealed the Evergreen, this, and a Lightning card. So he could have another Ice card to keep Channel Lake Frigid around, which would be worst case scenario. But he's probably just going to clear Passing Mirage, which means he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he could easily stop a Herald of Erudition or Herald of Tenacity. Okay, I'll just take the 7, which is actually 6 because of the Spectral Shield. Lightning Surge with Go again. Wow. Winter's Wail, Passing Mirage. Damn it, he had another Ice card. Okay, so he's going to Crown of Seeds. Crown of Seeds draws him a card? Wow, that's actually wild. He's just going to take out the Parable, which means we are no longer... Oh my gosh, another blank. No, I should have come in for 1. It's a mistake on my part. Trying to get him to pop those Time Skippers. Ooh, did he draw the 3rd blink? No, he just decided it wasn't worth it. All right. So now let's do... Oh, I wish I had Find Alls for Phantasmal Footsteps here. But I think this will work. In worst case scenario, I pitched away the Herald of Tenacity on Arsenal the Soul Shield. But I think this is good. Okay. Ping for 1. Ping for 1. So now we have make a 3rd shield and Arsenal the Herald of Tenacity, or throw the Herald of Tenacity. Let's throw the Herald of Tenacity. I feel like he's holding on to things that he wants to be attacking with, and I want him to want to have to pop this. Because I want to tax his hand so that he doesn't get the reveal off. But, like, yeah. Hey. If he wants to take 6 there, then I have Unmovable or Genesis, but Genesis with nothing to resolve. Just a Crippling Crush. For 13, Dominate, go again with none floating. I can block 7, which means I'm taking 6. So I can full... well, it's 7 plus... what is it, 2? I have 2 Spectral Shields. It's a 9, I take 4. Could also give the Crown of Providence. So if I block 3 unmovable, I don't like that. Blocking 3 unmovable is kind of not enough. What if I Crown of Providence? Try to draw a yellow to resolve Genesis. So I can block with you. Then put that to the bottom. No! Oh, I drew the red pummel. Damn. Damn, that's rough. That's rough. I only have 12 reds in the deck. It was fine. It was a fine decision to try to resolve the Genesis. Oh, here we go. Now on my turn, I remove a card from Soul, swing for 1. Oh my gosh, I should have Findalls before the Frostbite. Ugh, that was a misplay. Okay, here's the Time Skipper's turn. Now it's coming at me. Just an Autumn's Touch. This is fine. I have Wartune Herald Pummel with Celestial Reprimand. So I feel like this is actually pretty dope. I feel like I could actually win here. Of course he blocks with the gauntlets. He's reading my pummel. The Soul Read. Alright, yeah. What? Where's the reaction step? Defense step. It costs 1. I can't pummel it. Fuck. Well, oh well. I'll just do this. I put him to 1. Put the pummel there. Oh, he's gonna Crown of Seeds to draw a card. Winter's Bite making me pay 1. Yeah. I'll pay 1. Shock Striker. I have... Oh, if I pitched the red, I would be fine here. I would be able to play the pummel. I can't do Heralded Tenacity, Celestial Reprimand, though, if he relies too heavily. Oh, I should have blocked with Phantasmal Footsteps. That's a mistake on my part. Yeah, so I'm just going to do this. If he goes to pop it, I have the Reprimand. Haha! Celestial Reprimand wins games! No, I can't pay 2, so it loses go again, but you can't block anymore. Unless he has a D-React. Does he have the D-React? He can Crown of Seeds to prevent a damage, which means then he only has to stop 2 more. Yeah, no pummel for Clark. No, I'm bad. I made so many misplays at the end of this game. I only win because Alice was like, I'll take damage. Like, if Alice left their life total a little bit higher, I feel like they'd be in such a better spot. I know. 100% win rate. Hey! Auto such impulsive candle hold in hand. Yep. Alright. Quick rematch. Get maybe one more game in for the night before we call it quits. Celestial Reprimand, it wins games. Average value per turn, 5.5. That's not a lot of damage. See, illusionists make this stat wrong. Like, this stat is so good until you play illusionist. Yeah. Good night, Fuzzy. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. You forgot I added it. It's a good card. It wins games. It puts a higher hand tax on the opponent. Makes him block with 2 Phantasm cards, or it's just a yellow. Yeah. Alright. So we can do another Prism game or something else. It seems like there's only 2 people hanging out here. Oh, Alice wants to run back? Okay. Okay, Alice. Quick rematch. Oh, you left the lobby. Okay. In which case, let's go to the home page. Copy the deck list. Games. I don't know about that. Deck link. Living Legend CC. Public. Create. So I know I played the end game of that. Probably really, really bad. But still took it. Strength of Prism and LLA. I'd be interested to see what the chain matchup for this looks like. Alright. I'm actually just going to go to one of these. I don't think the Cataclysms are any good. I mean, it might be good. Oh, it's a fatigue strategy? Yeah. I don't know, that feels weird with the aura game plan because yeah, you can't really block with the auras, but it makes sense. Alright, who's first? Ooh, that's smart. I actually feel like this is fine though. I probably should have made the thing. Ooh. That was a bad hand, but let's see what we can do here. Icequake into Concuss? Okay. So now let's... Wish I had Pine Dolls. Oh, let's just Herald of Triumph. It's a popper that gives -1. Maybe I just get some damage leaked through. Oh, no, he had it. What's this turn? I'm gonna block with this pummel, see if I can. Okay. Herald of Protection with Celestial Reprimand backing it up, and pummel. Okay, so the pummel on it. Crown of Seeds. He's got other reactions. Oh. Reaction step on Alice. This could be a War Tune Herald. 5. No blocks. Okay, War Tune Herald. Just a nice little 1 for 7. Yeah, sure. Let's use this to attack. Why did that hit? Was he blocking with the blue one? Hmm. Oh, because I played the parable. Oh, never mind. I'm so smart. See, now I wish I had my resource because I could have done the exact same play again. But instead, I guess what I'll do is War Tune Herald. And then a Herald of Tenacity. Just hand taxing them over and over again. Oh, here comes a big swing. Ooh, Crown of Seeds. You get a card from Arsenal into a card in hand. Yeah, it's the draw card that really makes that thing broken. Just a disable. Meanwhile, I'm looking at a hand full of reds. And only 1 yellow. So, protect my life total. No 6. Damn, I would have loved. Winter's Whale. With the ice on hit currently. So so what does my turn look like here? I can make a Spectral Shield. Ode to Wrath Swimming twice. Yeah, let's do that. Let's resolve some Spectra. Start being annoying. Oh, I forgot to do it again. It's fine. Ice Quake. Ooh, Spinal Crush. At me? No go again. So I can block 3. Make the Ode to Wrath. And then... oh, they won't have go again. I really want to play one of these Pierce Realities. Pop this. Herald of Tenacity. 6 Dominate, no Phantasm. Doesn't have the armor block to stop me. I guess. They could if they really wanted to. Ah, Sink Below. Still hitting. Ooh. Yeah, let's be mean now. After they activate their Find Alls, that's when I resolve the Arclight Sentinel. Han! Alice is beginning to understand the terror they have put everyone else through. Yeah, just coming out with the Ode to Wrath, threatening to deal 2. Oh, that's a good block. This game is much closer than last game. Time Skippers, okay. Can cuss at me? And then Winter's Whale at the O Trath. Herald. Drew yellow, so now it's just pink for 4. Ooh. How does it go again? Then go again, dominate. I'm currently blocking 3 of it, then takes care of Genesis. My turn is... I want to deal the arcane damage on this. And then force him into a hard choice of the Merciful Retribution or the Genesis. Which one does he clear? Probably the Merciful. Especially because now I don't have any cards in hand. The double red there sucked. Ooh, at me. Yeah, that stops me from attacking. Because I can't use Find Alls. So now he's just going to go face. Oh, and he hit again. So he doesn't even have to go after the auras. Ooh. Choose a card to pitch. Cancel. Wow, and then just Winter Whales me. Wow. GG's. No, that was a good game. Good game, Alice. 1-1. All right, that's it for the inaugural stream played some games, talked about some news. I hope it was enjoyable. I hope everyone got along with it. Okanold is messed up, Alice. Okanold is very messed up. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So long.